Yeah, I wanted more Tom Atkins,
Yeah, more
actually.
Tom Atkins would have been nice.
Never would have said that before. I'm usually like, oh, this fucking guy again. Hitting on people.
Hey everyone, welcome to Straight Jacket Talk, where it's two guys, a girl, and a horror show. My name is Kevin, and I'm joined by a guy who, wait, I heard you were dead. It's Nathan.
Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated, but I'm not going into New York. I was glad to hear that the Yankees are gone, though.
Shots fired.
Nah.
I'm also joined by a girl who only has 22 hours to escape our podcast. It's Jill.
Goddamn.
22 hours. Can you make it?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
Down to the wire. We watched Escape from New York from 1981. It was directed by John Carpenter. It was also written by John Carpenter and Nick Castle. Nick Castle, who famously plays The Shape in Halloween 1. This movie has, like, the cast of cast, does it not?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, we have Kurt Russell in the lead as Snake Plissken. We have Lee Van Cleef as Hulk. He was the star of many spaghetti westerns, such as The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and a few dollars
I love that.
more.
Oh, he was in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's right. I was wondering where I recognized him from.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one.
Yeah, for sure. John Carpenter's a huge fan of westerns, so like that must have been a cool moment for him to
That makes
cast
sense.
him in it. This also stars Ernest Borgnine as Cabby. Do you know what
I
he's
like
best known
Cabby.
for?
No, I recognized him too, but no.
Well, he did win an Academy Award, but I think the kids, as they say, would best know him for his voice as Mermaid Man from SpongeBob SquarePants.
What did he win the Academy Award for, Kevin?
You know what? I don't know the movie. I think it was called
Oh my
Marty.
Okay.
Our buds, Ebert and Siskel, they would have loved that movie, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah.
This also has the incredible Donald Pleasence playing the president back from Halloween.
Beardless Donald Pleasance jump scare.
She's bolted the door. Need to shoot off.
What?
You were like, oh, man.
That's not Loomis. What are you doing, Donald
Loomis,
Pleasance?
wrong movie. This also has Isaac Hayes playing the Duke. It has Harry Dean Stanton playing the Brain.
I love Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, I knew you would, right?
Yeah, he's in Repo Man. He's in Wild at Heart. He's in Alien. He's in a bunch of David Lynch stuff. The Straight Story, in Inland Empire.
This movie also has a bunch of John Carpenter regulars. The most notable for us, Tom Atkins. He's back. Jill, what'd you think?
I think he's looking better than ever. This is like his peak physique. Yeah, what do you think?
I thought he looked
He's looking
good.
good in this movie.
Yeah. He was hot.
Yeah.
looked
We didn't
in
see
shape.
him all that much of him in this movie.
Yeah, I wanted
though.
more Tom Atkins,
Yeah,
actually.
more Tom Atkins would have been nice.
Never
Would've
would have
been.
said that before. I'm usually like, oh, this fucking guy again. Hitting on people.
He didn't hit on anybody in this.
Yeah, I wish he did, actually. So, he can't win either way with me, I guess.
It also has Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah.
She looks amazing in this, does she
Oh
not?
my god.
Oh my God.
I wasn't going to be the one to say it, but yeah, she looks incredible
saying
in this movie.
The boobies. The boobies
Oh
are
my
out.
God. They are on display.
The wolf.
Yep,
And
it was
she's
good.
like she's in the background of some shots and you're just looking at her instead of looking at Snake. Because like
Bisexual panic.
Now you understand why John Carpenter married her. He was like, and I'll cast you in all my movies. Also has the great Charles Cyphers in this as well, back from Halloween, and he stars in The Fog as well. So pretty cool. It's time for the budget game. Escape from New York had a budget of $6 million. Do you know how much it made at the box office? Nathan, start us off.
I'm going to guess this did well, I guess. $6 million budget, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess $25 million.
I'm going to double what Nathan said. So 50 million doll hairs.
By golly. Right on the nose. Jill hit it. $50 million.
Really?
Yeah.
What do I win?
Ding, 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 ding. You win John Carpenter.
Okay.
He's yours.
Cool. Sweet.
God damn it, Kevin. You did it to me again.
Ask him if he could play some cool music for you.
Oh, boy. You're making this special effect even more difficult. Now he's got to move. At least Stephen King wasn't moving when I put him in Jill's room.
God.
John Carpenter just needs to stay there with music playing. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, Escape from New York has an 86% critic score and a 77% audience score. So this is certified fresh. But what do we think of this movie? Before we go any further, if you could please hit the like and subscribe buttons and also hit the notification bell, because when we have a new video, you'll be the first to know. Isn't that right, Nathan?
Yes, it's a privilege.
This was my pick for an episode. The reason why I chose Escape from New York is I'm a big John Carpenter fan, as it's been known. You know, I know you're asking yourself, you're saying, this is supposed to be a horror show, and this movie technically isn't really horror. But to me, this actually is kind of caught between a bunch of different genres. And that's the reason why I like it, because I don't think it fits anything really. Like, I know it's mostly action based, but if you look at it, there's not a whole lot of action that really happens. I mean, there's scenes of action, definitely. There's a couple of horror scenes in it, I think, you know, and we'll probably delve into that a little bit more during the podcast. You know, even sci-fi, a little bit of sci-fi too going on. So, I mean, I think this hits a lot of different genres. And I think what's cool about this movie is that it kind of goes against everything a little bit, and it's its own real movie. It almost feels like its own world in this movie. And I think it's hard to kind of get people invested in that world sometimes, because you feel like, oh, it's a movie and this is what I'm watching. But I think what's so good about this movie is it puts me as the viewer in there with Snake and everything that's going on. So, you know, it's one of those movies that I watched a while ago after I had seen Halloween and I had heard about Escape from New York, and it's one of those movies that I now watch regularly as kind of comfort food for myself. It's a very comforting movie. It's very memorable for many things. But I think what it's mostly memorable for is it goes against the grain of what it's trying to be a little bit. And that's why I kind of like John Carpenter movies in itself too. It's like John Carpenter isn't there to please anybody. He has a vision, and that's what, you know, we're going to see. And I think a lot of why, you know, I like his movies is he has a lot to say, and a lot of it is against authority and like these anti-hero figures. And it's something that I think everyone can kind of gravitate towards. And this movie is no different. Let's give you our overall thoughts on Escape from New York. Jill, start us off. Have you seen this movie before, or is this your first time?
Yeah, I've never seen this movie before. Never heard of it before. It's not really.
Really?
Wow.
Really.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I didn't know that.
That's
I was
awesome.
chuckling just earlier because Kevin's like, this is my comfort movie. And I'm like, oh my God, only Kevin would have this as a comfort movie. Only a man, right? And I don't know. I don't want to say like action thriller movies are for men, but it's not like my wheelhouse of movies because it's very masculine, I guess. And there's Adrienne Barbeau, but like, you know, I could have used more of her or something. But I get it. It's totally fine. Like, I'm not offended by that. I'm just saying, like, that's probably why I never would have picked it up myself. It's not really the type of thing I gravitate towards. But I also like John Carpenter. We're always talking about Tom Atkins and Adrienne Barbeau. And I think the cast is pretty stellar. And you have that familiarity with John Carpenter's work, like with the music right off the bat. Like, you know, it's very adjacent to Halloween. And you can tell he's just having fun with it. He's just, this whole movie, I think, is just John Carpenter having fun and like doing whatever he wants, which is really cool. After the success of Halloween, like that's what you should totally do. You got some money, go do your thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Kurt Russell's character. He's such like a meathead kind of character.
Yeah.
President of what?
He is so attractive. So is Tom Atkins. So is Adrienne Barbeau. Like everyone's hot. And I just love his kind of like, you were just talking about like fuck the authority sort of deal with like the police, the government, and the president. And I think that's especially topical right now. A lot of people are feeling that way. So it's kind of a relevant movie, even though, it came from 81 and its prediction of the future is like 1997.
Yeah.
Which I one thing I really liked about the movie and the beginning, I think the beginning is a great hook to draw in an audience. Kind of like the sort of computer woman voice that's going on, like explaining kind of the background of what's happening.
The once great city of New York becomes the one maximum security prison for the entire country. A 50-foot containment wall is erected along the New Jersey shoreline.
I really enjoyed that. I like all the neon lights and like all the graphics and stuff. I thought that was really cool. It's got a bit of a sci-fi tinge to it, which I really liked about it. So I guess like the sci-fi part for me was my favorite. Yeah, I thought that with the soundtrack and just like setting up the scene where you're using Manhattan as a prison is crazy. I love that. One more thing I'll talk about that I really liked about it was the people who are like inhabitants of the prisoners, the city, and they are just like kind of nuts. It reminded me of like the Crazies a little bit.
That one group is called the Crazies.
Exactly, and they're called the Crazies. Also, there's a character named Romero and another one named Cronenberg.
Cronenberg, get over to station 19.
And I was like, that's totally like, it has to be on purpose, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if, I think the Crazies came out in what, like the 70s? So I think definitely there was some influence there. And I think Romero, the character, he was kind of like nuts looking, and I really liked him. He was funny.
He was great. Yeah.
Yeah. What a great character. I kind of wanted more of that, like the scene in the chock full of nuts with like the hands coming out of the boards and like people shambling down the street. Like, I love that. I thought that was great. I wanted more of that and less like crime, I guess. If it was like kind of more of a zombie kind of movie, I think that would have been sick. Also, the fight, like in the ring, that was
that's the best.
That was fun.
Yes, it was very fun.
But yeah, I thought it was a fun time, and I can see why you would like it so much. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying it's not something typical for me. Nathan, what are your thoughts on it?
Before Kevin chose this, if you had asked me if I'd seen Escape from New York, I would have told you, yes, definitely I've seen Escape from New York. And then I watched it and I realized I don't remember any of this at all. Have I actually seen this movie? And I don't think I had. I guess it must be a difference between Canadian and American. The idea that there's somebody who hadn't heard of this movie before now is like a foreign concept to me, to be honest.
That's why you guys were so surprised.
Yeah. I mean, Snake Plissken is a cultural icon. If there ever was one, this movie is quintessential 80s. And I guess that's why I thought I had seen this movie. I haven't. I enjoyed this a lot. Other than The Lost Boys, this might be the most 80s movie I've ever seen in my entire life. From the music to you wouldn't call it retro future back when it was made. But now that we know what the future actually looked like with technology, it's like very retro future. I love all that. I agree with you, Jill, on the neon light stuff. I'm like an infant in that way. You splash bright colors across the screen, it just makes me happy. So all the shots of like Snake in the plane where it's like red background and his face is lit green. That was super awesome. I really like the sort of anti-authoritarian messaging of this movie. It makes it very clear that Snake does not want to do what he's doing, and what he's doing is for the real bad guys of the movie. Mm-hmm. You have an antagonist in the Duke, but he's not really the bad guy in the movie when you think about it. He's more just a product of the system that was forced upon him. And the bad guy is the guy we're trying to save. Yeah. The president is the bad guy. He has done this to these people. You know, that's a very John Carpenter thing to do, between this and They Live, and, you know, messaging about that sort of thing is very up in his wheelhouse. But yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie for the first time, apparently.
Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't see Escape from LA at all?
I might have seen Escape from LA, the much maligned sequel, because I do remember Snake Plissken surfing. So, and that's not in this movie. So I probably saw Escape from LA as a child, like on TV or something like that, and came to the conclusion that I saw Escape from New York. Although I'm surprised you never made me watch it back in high school, now that I think about it.
You know what? I didn't see it till I was, well, I did see it after I watched Halloween, but I didn't really appreciate it then. I was still like very focused on like, I like horror, because then I had seen The Fog too, and I really liked that as well. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't like super into it, but like when I was older, I rewatched it and it really like hit me right, you know.
Right, you could get more into like a dystopian sci-fi action flick like this one. Although, like we've been talking about, it feels like it has more horror scenes than action scenes when it comes down to it a little bit. The action is very basic. But he's using horror tropes to keep you hooked.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I think, you know, which we'll probably get into, is the music too. Is not very like action, like, you know, music over the scenes. It's setting a different kind of atmosphere over the scenes too.
It's got a really cool tone as a result of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things you had both touched on was like the neon lights and everything like that. The cinematographer is Dean Cundey.
Yeah.
Who is like my favorite. Like every movie he does, you're just like, whoa.
Yeah. This is one of those movies where it's like every frame is a painting sort of deal. Like everything is blocked perfectly. Everything just looks beautiful.
Those specific scenes too, where he's like in the little glider there and looking, you know, and there's other scenes where they're looking at the city. I mean, those were done so well, you know, between like matte paintings and you know, little models and stuff. And they actually showed that they used neon tape on the models too, which was like gives it that effect that you were talking about.
I will say some of these special effects are fun, but not good.
Great. Yeah.
they do, especially some of the stuff with like, I like the shot inside the plane. The shot outside the plane as it is kind of like
going in. Yeah.
That's a model in front of a painting. You know.
I always wonder now too, like looking at the budget, $6 million for this movie.
That's a low budget. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like John Carpenter had such a cool idea that was outside of, you know, the box, that I feel like if he had a bigger budget, what would this have been, you know? And maybe it would have been Escape from LA and not been liked by many people, but
didn't Escape from LA have a bigger budget too, actually? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Maybe like it would have been just overboard, but this seems like if you had a little bit more money, you could get some.
Yeah, just give him a $12 million budget and you could have made those plane shots look a lot better.
For sure.
I mean, most of the special effects, once you actually get into the city, look good. I'd have no complaints about that. It's just the actual sci-fi stuff that's like, This looks like almost original Star Trek-ish.
I was thinking that too. I want to get into something right away. Flip the page. Is Snake one of the most iconic characters of all time? Because we had kind of talked about this
Just
a little
like,
bit.
no, I've never heard of him before today.
Well,
It's my first time.
here's my question. Is it because, like, me and Nathan are a little bit older than you, like, and we were exposed to more of the 80s
Maybe,
culture?
but you're also
Maybe.
men. You're also men, so I feel like that also like plays a role for real.
Yeah.
It could.
No, I understand.
It could. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, this movie still came out before either one of us was born.
True.
But then again, when you talk about watching TV, this movie was played on TV fairly regularly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Along with all those other 80s, like sci-fi horror stuff. First time I saw The Fly was on TV. What was the question? I'm sorry.
No, I was just asking, is Snake one of the most iconic, characters of all time, of like action movies, of horror? Because like this character, it seems like he's, for me, like on the screen, he's charismatic. He jumps off the screen, right? But technically, he's only in 2 movies ever.
I mean, my answer is actually gonna be no. Snake Plissken is a cultural icon. I think if you asked that question 20 years ago, you'd have gotten a different answer out of me.
Yeah.
I honestly think the youth has no idea who Snake Plissken is.
That's what's wrong with the youth.
That's what's wrong with the youth. Yeah, no Snake Plissken. Obviously, you and I both know who he is. Ask anybody our age who lived in America their whole lives, I guess. They're gonna know who he is. And they're going to know this movie, even if they haven't seen it. But I think you get just 10 years younger than us, 15 years younger than us, and nobody has any clue who he is.
Jill, you hadn't seen Snake or heard of him before this movie?
No way. No. So
Yeah.
not even on my radar.
I mean, Hideo Kojima obviously thinks he's extremely iconic because he based his character Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid games on Snake Plissken. I think more people know Solid Snake than Snake Plissken, to be honest with you. And I think people who watch this movie and be like, why are they so similar? They even have the same name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
people who wouldn't know any better might think that Snake Plissken is a ripoff of Solid Snake, even though Solid Snake came 15 years later.
But you think he's iconic?
I think, like, for us, like, growing up, he was definitely iconic.
Everybody knew who he was.
Yeah, I just think he was, like, the definition of cool. I think what was cool about him, too, is he didn't really look like Rambo or Arnold. He was, like, an action star, but he also seemed, like, attainable a little bit. That makes sense.
No, Snake Plissken is more human than any other action hero of the time. Like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, Arnold gets shot and just keeps going all the time, you know, whereas Snake Plissken gets hit with an arrow and he's limping the rest of the movie. You know, where that's just not something action stars did or even do now, to be honest with you. It's a much more grounded action flick than most of the action flicks of the time, even with the over-the-top stuff in the city.
I think John Carpenter purposely, like, created that character to be like that, too, because there's a great scene at the beginning when he's getting ready to go into the plane and stuff, and he's with the doctor. The other guy's like trying to get him to pull up his shirt. He's like, I don't like needles. Like, he's you know, it's kind of just a little fun play.
I mean,
with
that's
the guy.
kind of like Indiana Jones with the snakes in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
he's afraid of something, right? You know?
Yeah, for sure. I think too, like, the eye patch makes him mysterious and badass, and like,
The eye
that's
patch
always
is
been a
badass.
thing.
Yeah.
I think he's a good anti-hero as well.
I don't give a fuck about your war.
or your president.
The entire time I was watching this as well, I was just thinking, wow, this is just like the blueprint for Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And then I saw.
For sure. That makes so
say
much
that.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay.
It basically is.
You're right.
I haven't seen Suicide Squad.
It's the same thing. Like,
Holy shit.
Except they gather a bunch of like villains to do it instead of one person, but to do the government's dirty work. Yeah.
Did
Makes
you
sense.
like too how we're introduced to Snake? Like,
He
because
just
what I
walks
kind of
in the room. There's no heroic entrance.
What I-
it
what I like
breaks
about
all the
Carpenter-
action movie tropes.
Yeah,
You know?
but that's what I like about Carpenter too, is he's just like puts us right into the movie. Like there's no like, you know, I know there's the little exposition like Jill was saying at the beginning with the lady you know, talking, but then it's just like, here you go. You know.
We're in the movie now. What Jill was saying about him being an anti-hero, his task is not the good task at the end of the day, which is kind of cool about this movie as well. Snake Plissken is doing what he's doing because he wants to live.
Yeah.
Not because he agrees with what he's doing.
Like now that you said that, I can't like stop thinking about the similarities, you know, and it's like the ticking clock thing.
Except for Suicide Squad, they get more of a reward in the end. Like you have Harley Quinn in her cell with like all of her bells and whistles, but Snake gets nothing. Like he literally just gets to keep his life, and now he's like disgusted even more so with the people who run the country.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of bleak actually.
It's a super bleak ending. Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's something John Carpenter's known for too, is like he doesn't do happy endings.
I mean, on the surface, it's like a happy ending because Snake gets to live and he's now a free man. That's the deal. He's not going into New York for the rest of his life. But at the end of the day, when you really think about it, the good ending is for Duke to win. For everybody to be free from New York. Because, I mean, they make it very clear that this is like a fascist, racist concept, this prison.
In the name of the workers and all the oppressed of this imperialist country. What better revolutionary example than to let their president perish in the inhuman dungeon of his own imperialist prison?
It's said by the woman who's flying the president's plane at the beginning. So we're rooting for Snake because we don't want him to die because we like Snake. He's an awesome character. But at the end of the day, if he failed, that's the good ending. The Duke is the good guy of this movie when you really think about it. That's the way I see it anyway.
Yeah.
Jill, did you like the ending?
I did like it because I don't know, it kind of surprised me that it would go that far to be that kind of dark and bleak, that he gets absolutely nothing out of this, you know.
Right.
People were sacrificed, like good people were sacrificed in order for him to succeed in his quest. And then when the president is like getting shaved and ready for the TV like news segment thing, like the speech or whatever,
Yeah.
you really do feel that disgust that Snake is feeling, like, wow, he did all of this and now the president is back and the bullshit continues and it's, you know, being televised.
A lot of people died in the process. I just wondered how you felt about it.
This nation appreciates their sacrifice.
So, you know, all this propaganda that's going out to the rest of the people, and things continue to kind of be the way they were, which sucks.
The president's quote, they're like they're patriots or we appreciate their sacrifice for the country. And it's such bullshit. Like he's talking out the side of his mouth. He did not care at all. Like you were saying, Jill, he's still the guy in power and nothing's actually changing because of any of this. Snake actually just ensured that the status quo could continue, and the status quo is horrifying.
I always wondered though, and even now, because we never really know what's on that tape that Snake switches out.
You heard of nuclear fusion?
You know anything about nuclear fusion?
All right. I'll
The survival of the human race, Plissken.
Whatever.
Which I kind of like it though too, because it's ambiguous. Like we don't know exactly what's on this tape. But I always wonder, like, if him switching that out is a big deal. Like, does something change because of that?
Hauk there says it's only the survival of humanity we're dealing with here, Snake. If he says it's the survival of humanity, well, I mean, I guess maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's not the status quo. Maybe everything's about to blow up because he switched out that tape. I don't know. I will say the only disappointing thing about that ending is at the beginning, they set up that Snake is going to kill Hauk.
When I get back, I'm gonna kill you.
And then Hauk is at the end, he's like, "You're going to kill me, Snake?" And he goes,
I'm too tired. Maybe later.
and it's like, "No, you told me that you were going to kill him. Show it to me. I want him dead. I don't like him."
Nathan, they got to
so
set up for the
bleak.
sequel.
Yeah.
The sequel wasn't until like 12 years later, right?
Yeah, it was a while. Yeah. I don't know. I think I agree. Like, it felt a little anticlimactic in that way, but
That's the only complaint I have. I like the ending overall. I just wanted to see him die. That's all.
yeah, I hear you. And I think that makes us have all these questions at the end. Where does Snake go now? Like, what happens? What the tape?
Well, the tape is destroyed. He went, which makes you wonder why you wouldn't have more than one copy of a tape that's that important. But I'll, let it go.
What I want to know is why this summit was in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
horrible.
not a good place for any event.
No. Why?
It's not a good place to exist if you can help it, to be honest with you.
That's true.
I'd rather go to New Haven.
Oh man.
And I
Now
don't
we're
want to go to
pulling
New
all-
Haven.
We're pulling all the best cities in Connecticut.
Toad's Place is a cool club, but
It is. What I want to ask too, we had touched on it, but like this being a dystopian setting, and specifically New York and New York as a prison. What are your thoughts on that? Because like, to me, this is a horror concept in a way, especially when Snake goes in there and then, there's nobody around at first. I love like when he actually is walking on the streets, and because I felt like some angst and fear of like what's gonna happen here. Jill, did you like the dystopian society? Dystopian society. Well, it is a dystopian society, right?
We live in a society. No, I enjoyed it
bottom
because
text. Sorry.
well, first of all, New York is always like a great place for that sort of kind of gritty movie. Reminds me of like The Crow and stuff like that.
Right.
But so that's cool on its own, but also like the isolation. Not only did it give me that like kind of zombie, like crazies vibe, but it also reminded me of COVID and just like the thought of, New York City during COVID, or any big city where it's just completely shut down and it's kind of like ghostly, like having
the
to see it so
videos of that
empty.
were like so eerie and weird when it first started, and there was literally no one on the street. Oof.
I love that as a setting, and you see like people in the shadows. Like I don't know. I think the beginning of this movie is like the strongest part for me. Like the way they set everything up was fantastic.
Nathan, did you like the New York city being used as a prison?
Yeah.
It's scary,
I
right?
It was scary. Yeah, I thought it was cool. I like that because it's this giant prison, almost camp, and they let these people just run the place. It's like Australia from when England used to ship their prisoners to Australia and just let them loose. I love the fact that they created their own society, and like there's good and bad parts of town in this prison. They have a culture that is gotten bizarre because it's just completely cut off from the rest of the world. Like I can't imagine a character like Romero would exist in any other type of environment. But he makes total sense in the environment of this movie because of how they set it up. This whole city has become a prison. I really like that.
It is kind of like real prison in a way too, where there's like social structure and stuff like that as well. So it's like even in this huge environment, it still is doing kind of the same things.
I think that's cool. Like, and it happens like that in real prison too. Like they still find a way to create like this hierarchy. And I think that's just like a universal like human trait. Like we will always try to divide ourselves into classes and, you know.
Which is
really woke movie.
Fucked up. But no, this movie is super woke.
Yeah. A little ACAB.
This movie is extremely lid.
Also, question, is there cross-dressing in this movie?
Yes.
Okay,
I
let's
loved
talk about that. Okay.
I loved that. Like, it's another thing where, like, they've created this society within this prison because they have no other choice. They have to live somehow. And they created their own entertainment. And it just happens to be a drag show. You know? Which,
I thought that's what was happening, but I was like, I need to rewind this later.
It is definitely a drag show.
That's one of my favorite
is having
scenes.
The time of his life watching it. So,
Cabby, love that.
Great.
He said too, he doesn't go to that part of town usually, but he couldn't miss that show.
Couldn't miss that show. No, that's a great show.
He likes art.
Yeah.
I love too how everybody recognizes Snake.
You're Snake Plissken, ain't you?
Oh, Snake Plissken, all right.
Yeah, he's this legend.
Yeah, Cabby too, when he sees him and he's like, oh, I wouldn't go down there, Snake, when he's like heading down in the basement. And that was creepy too. And then we get another John Carpenter regular. Buck Flower has the bracelet on.
Sure, I'm the president. I knew when I got this thing, I'd be president.
Oh, okay. Who was the guy that was looking at Snake's shoes? I recognize that guy.
I believe, and I didn't look this up, so you'll have to see in editing. I believe he is Reverend Sawyer from Halloween 4.
You're probably right.
For a split second, I thought he was Harry Dean Stanton just because I recognized him. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, it's not him. I also thought the guy... I also thought Romero was played by Buscemi for a split second.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to pull up pictures. No. I thought he looked like Tim Skold.
Oh, okay.
Look it up. I swear.
Okay.
I swear to God.
Ironically, Buscemi's in Escape from L.A.
Yes.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Is he playing a similar character in that, or to Romero?
You know, I haven't seen Escape from L.A. in a long time. I know. Yeah. I thought he was kind of like the cabbie guy, or I don't know. I could be wrong. What did you think about the characters in this movie? Because there's a lot of characters. We have the Brain, who... Here's my question with the Brain. He's kept alive and in good graces with the Duke because he's found a way to create gasoline. Is that why? Okay.
Yeah, he's got an oil well in the library.
Oh my God. Just like the real world too.
Yeah.
People who make
oil gives you power.
Yeah.
I liked the Brain though. Like he seemed like one of those like Snake of a guy, but like you could tell his real power was not necessarily being smart, but how to talk to people and deal with people and like wheel and deal his way, because even when he's in trouble with the Duke, he's like, oh, you know, I had a gun on my head.
He can talk his way out of it.
Yeah.
Friend of yours, Brain?
He had a gun on me, Duke. There was nothing I could do.
At the end of the day, his power comes from the fact that he's able to make gasoline. And for some reason, I guess there's in this movie, there's a whole bunch of oil sitting under New York City that we don't know about, that he can get with a miniature well. But yeah, no, I like the Brain. I thought he was a good character. I always like Harry Dean Stanton. Cabby's probably my favorite character other than Snake Plissken, to be honest with you. I find him funny in that he's so happy-go-lucky and then a little bit cowardly too. I'd say Adrienne Barbeau's character is probably the one I was most disappointed with because
Maggie.
she didn't do enough. I felt like she should have been given more to do. But I guess that's not even a fault of the character as much as it is the script, because I thought she was cool. And but she basically, most of the time, she was just kind of there.
She needed more of a role.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sausage fest movie.
Yeah, she's the only female character in the whole movie, and she wasn't given much to do. So I was really happy when I saw her shoot those 3 guys when the brain stabbed Romero, but
she is badass.
Yeah,
she is. You're forgetting another woman though. The woman in the chock full of nuts coffee shop.
Yeah. She exists in the movie for 10 seconds.
That was Kurt Russell's real wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stop it. She's like the 4th person in the credits basically at the end. Like she's right there.
That's
Kurt
probably why.
That's, you know what though, that's such a cool scene and a very horror scene we had touched on at the beginning with like the hands coming out of the ground and grabbing
very
her
Walking
down.
Dead.
Yeah. Even when he's in that coffee shop
thing,
when they all come out of the sewers and just, it's shit is on.
The guy with the wrench smacking the manhole covers. Was very horror, like he's doing something. What's going on? Something's about to happen. What is he doing? And then you get the base. It's basically a zombie scene.
Yeah, I liked it though. It was cool. Like, and again, like the whole thing of exploring New York, and there's so many areas to go to. It was like I was kind of cool just following Snake, like trying to find the president, because I liked seeing this dystopian world in New York, and like when he goes to the brain in the library, it's cool, and then in the theater, like these are cool settings, and then we get the Duke's place. The scenery really, I think, is almost
it's a character in itself.
Yeah,
almost.
A character. Yeah, exactly. I loved it. I thought it was like one of those things where you really are in it, like trying to find the president and stuff like that, and navigating. It's like, what would you do? And I like too, there's this one simple scene in the movie that I really like, where Snake actually just sits down for a minute after he can't find the president. And you don't see that in many action movies where he just kind of took a seat.
He just needs a little rest.
He was just like, well, this is fucked. Like, it's like you could see what he was thinking on it. But
it's like the movie is breathing, basically. You're giving it a minute to breathe, figure out what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Adrienne Barbeau's character, I agree with you. Like, I wanted more from her. But the ending to me is like really badass with her character. And she has the chance to run with Snake. And she has like the cowboy ending, really. Like, she's going to stick it out and try to hold off the Duke.
Oh my God. It was giving me like flashes of Alien 3.
It's been a long time since I've seen Alien 3.
Ellen Ripley dies. It's like sacrifices herself. And she looks so much like Ellen Ripley with like the hair and everything. I don't know. I think they look a lot alike.
Yeah. Yeah. She and Sigourney Weaver are pretty reasonably similar looking. The whole thing where she's shooting at the car and then she gets run over. It's kind of like, I mean, it's badass that you did that, but also you didn't accomplish anything.
That's kind of like the gist of the whole movie too. Like he saves the president, but like, what does he actually accomplish? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he accomplishes not dying. He didn't really help anybody at the end of the day.
He survives.
That's it. He survives.
Sometimes that's life. Sometimes you just gotta survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a metaphor.
I don't blame
for
him.
life.
I'm not saying he's like the bad guy. I'm just saying like the dude.
It's like there's good people, there's bad people. There, sometimes they're both, and then you have Snake, who's just trying to survive.
I mean, I think he's a good guy overall. It's just that like his goal isn't isn't actually really noble at the end of the day. Yeah. He doesn't want to do it, really. He accomplishes his goal, but it's like...
He has no choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking, you know, one of the best things about this movie, too, is the ticking clock thing, because it's giving you...
I love the ticking clock.
Yeah.
The visual of the watch with the clock, I loved that. It's very suspenseful. Like, you know, you're in suspense the entire movie because of the imagery of that ticking clock.
I would have thought it would have been a bastard of an ending if they revealed to him, like, he hadn't been shot up with anything.
No. Yeah.
You know, but he was, right? Because they said,
they got the x-rays on him and said, okay, that's it.
That's it.
And even then he was like, are you sure? Because he's like looking at the clock like, you know.
Yeah. Because you're never sure. Because I think that's the other thing, too. And even as the audience, we're kind of in Snake's shoes, too, where are we trusting these people? Like, I'm not sure if we are.
No, they're bad people. Tom Atkins, whose character's name I forget. And how
Tom Atkins.
I mean, Snake is definitely working for the bad guys of the movie. The movie makes no bones about that, you know.
I want to end my point here on the music, because the music, I love the music. Like, I could like play this score. I'm with Snake in this glider. We're going. I love this music. I actually do listen to this. Because there is an album too that has the music or a soundtrack. They don't call it albums anymore, but I'm aging myself.
I do. I still call it albums.
But I listen to this when I work because it's such good, just like mentally vibrating music. I think. I don't know. Jill, did you like the score to Escape from New York?
Hell yeah. I think that's like a staple in a John Carpenter movie, is there's got to be a killer score. He's got to go ham on those damn synths. And the man was going ham. I don't want to talk about the neon lights again, but I'm going to do it. In conjunction with the neon lights, the sound, I don't know, just does it for me. So bangers.
It's what makes it so 80s. That's why it's like quintessentially 80s. That song where the Duke has shown up and they have to get away from the Duke and they go down Hollywood Boulevard.
It's Broadway.
I'm sorry. Broadway. I'm getting famous streets
One of
mixed
those.
up. When they go down Broadway, there's this like... It's almost an odd choice. It's like this E major, bluesy sort of song playing. It's kind of bouncy. It's pretty happy at the end of the day, but it was just such a great song. I don't know. It oddly worked. For me.
I want to ask you, because John Carpenter has famously said that when he scores his movies, he likes it to be like the carpet, like laid down, like, you know, in a house. But to me, I see that in a way because it's like there and it's like, you know, something that's lived in or whatever. But it's also its own character so much in a lot of the movies. And just like they live with that bluesy tone. Obviously Halloween with I mean Halloween, that's the tone.
That 5/4 minor thing going on. That just
Assault on Precinct 13. Like that, those scores, just that's what I think of like with those movies. They're almost a character in itself. So I mean, I know his goal is to like kind of not have it overtake, but for me, it's so fucking good that it overtakes.
I mean, I think he underestimates how important those scores are by saying that. Often his scores involve like actual songs. If you want something that's not overtaking, not taking too much attention of the audience, you can't write a song. You can't write a catchy melody. and all these things that we're talking about have like catchy melodies, you know? So like the Halloween song is very catchy. It gets stuck in your head. The blues score of They Live gets stuck in your head.
I love it. It's such an important part of this movie too. I don't know, because it's anti like action movie to me. It's something unique, which is cool.
It is sort of an anti-action movie. It really is. It's funny because he's definitely a horror director. And I think that's why the tropes that you would expect from an action movie are all either not done or turned on their head in some way. I feel like it's almost like he didn't know exactly what he was doing at all directing an action movie. And that's why, because again, he has a limp for half the movie. Action stars don't limp, but he's not thinking that way because he's a horror director, and he's like, well, yeah, he got an arrow shot into his thigh. Of course he's going to limp. So we're going to have him limp. He doesn't know that that's like against the action movie rules, so.
Star can't be hurt.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, we never talked about the wrestling scene. But
I wouldn't call it wrestling, though.
I was going to say, I don't know if that's wrestling.
It was a fight with a ring.
I'd call it wrestling. I mean, how often just the chairs from under the ring or whatever? Same idea.
That's true. A little barbed wire bad action. Or this wasn't barbed wire. This was what? Nails?
Nails. Yeah.
When he takes that bat to the back of his head too, I love it. Like as soon as it hits him, they start going snake, like, snake.
It's very Rocky.
Yes.
Rocky 4. Yeah, it's very
another
Rocky
80s.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Jill, come in the 80s
Rocky
with
movies? The Rocky movies are all masterpieces.
I've never seen them, so I might have seen like the first one like a lot, like as a kid, so it means nothing to me. But I live in Philly. This is awful.
Yeah,
I know.
You can run up those stairs anytime you want.
I have run up those stairs a lot.
Did you go like this?
I don't think so. It's more so like dying.
You got to jog in place. You got to jog in place with your hands up and fists.
And you got to sing the song.
Yeah, maybe next time.
We'll all do it. We'll come visit you and we'll all do it.
The first Rocky movie is genuinely a masterpiece of a movie. I mean, as far as sports movies go, it's incredible. But
yeah,
the others are
insane.
They're campy and they're campy and fun, So the first one's a serious movie.
It's time for quote or kill. My favorite quote is the reoccurring one of everyone like, I heard you were dead.
I thought you were dead.
Yeah, but I heard you were dead.
Heard you were dead.
To Snake. I just love all these different characters. Like we talked about, know who he is or have heard of him.
Yeah.
And they all have heard he's dead.
It makes sense that the government would want you to think that when he's a war hero. They don't want you to know that he committed crimes against.
See, it also gives him this like larger than life kind of persona as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like a mystique.
And I think that's one of the reasons they have, you can check it out on YouTube, is an alternate beginning to this movie where they show Snake getting arrested for, I think it was robbing a bank, right? I think.
Yeah, it was robbing a Federal Reserve.
He robbed the Federal Reserve Depository. Life sentence. New York Maximum Security Penitentiary.
He robbed the Fed. Basically.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons they took that scene out. He kind of looks vulnerable a little bit in this scene. And like, if you kind of don't show any of his crimes, but just the hearsay from people, I think, like Jill said, that makes him larger than life. My favorite kill is actually Maggie's death. I love the way she goes out, just badass. and gets the Duke just runs right into her. Here's my other question. How did the Duke navigate all those mines on the bridge?
Well, as far as I could tell, Snake was hitting all of them before he got there. So the Duke's map, or the Brain's map, was fucking awful. It was not work right at all. He died because he was screaming the wrong direction while running the wrong direction.
Damn it!
Everybody else was ignoring him and lived through it. So he survived by doing the opposite of what the Brain thought was a good idea.
Oh my God. Jill, how about you?
I just have a favorite quote. No kill for me. But my favorite quote is near the beginning when we have that kind of computer lady. And she's explaining like the rules basically. And she says,
The rules are simple. Once you go in, you don't come out.
Once you go in, you don't come out. I thought that was really like badass and like kind of foreboding, kind of setting that foreboding kind of tone. Also really like the part where she says you can get cremated here.
You now have the option to terminate and be cremated on the premises.
If you don't want to like actually go there, they'll just kill you now. So it shows how serious
it's an option. You know, you could go to New York, or if you choose, we'll just kill you. You know?
Honestly, like same. Like, it doesn't even have to be a prison. Like, New York is kind of a prison anyways. Every time I go to New York City, I'm like, Jesus Christ, take me out, actually.
There's way too many New York Yankees there, and, you know.
Dang.
Yeah, so, you know, it's kind of on the nose.
Yeah.
What about you, Nathan?
My favorite line, just because it was really badass, was Hauk told him that once you're in there, you're on your own. And Snake says,
"Oh, you mean I can't count on you?"
No.
Good. That one made me giggle because it was just a lot of Snake's dialogue is just so over the top, badass, silly. Like it's great. But that one was really, I loved that. And then I don't really have a favorite kill because this isn't a movie with horror movie kills, really. But my favorite scene was Snake and that large man in the wrestling match. You say it's not really wrestling, but hitting each other with bats. It felt very sort of real and visceral rather than like a choreographed fight scene you might see in like, you know, in like an Arnold movie or a Van Damme movie or something like that. It just felt like two dudes who don't know exactly what they're doing swinging away at each other, which I feel like that's what it would look like in real life if you put two people in that situation. So,
yeah. Again, it's very much like the action movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's time for our final rating. We're going to rate Escape from New York from 1 to 5 stars. 5 is Escape from New York. 1 is Escape from LA.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm taking shots here. Jill, you go first.
God damn it. Make me the villain.
Oh, no. She doesn't like this movie.
No. I'm going to give Escape from New York 3 stars. And I want to preface that by saying that I had a good time. I didn't hate it. It's just like not normally my cup of tea. I didn't hate it. I had a good time watching it. It was fun. It was different. It was refreshing. And it had all of the elements of a John Carpenter movie that I like, minus I could have used some more horror, some more women, but you know, it's okay. This one's for the boys, and you know, I'm happy that, you know, it exists. So yeah. 3 stars from me. How do you rate it, Kevin?
This is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. It's a 5-star movie for me.
Saw that coming.
Yeah, it's listen, I don't think this is a perfect movie by any means, but that's okay. Like, I really, like I said at the beginning, this is like a comfort food movie for me. I can put this on and just anytime, any place, and be in it and like it and have in the background, be into it, whatever. Like it is like that movie for me. I think Snake Plissken is like one of the coolest characters, and the music, like we talked about, is some of my favorite music in general. I just like it even without the movies. At some point I'll do like a John Carpenter ranking, but it's definitely at least in my top 3 John Carpenter movies.
Damn.
But it changes sometimes. Nathan, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie 4 stars. I like it a lot, and Snake Plissken's a great character. It's a whole hell of a lot of fun. It's got a lot to say. You know, there's not really much in the way of negatives for me to talk about, I don't think. There's some things in there that didn't make a huge amount of sense to me that I felt could have been fleshed out a little bit more, I guess. But it's not a big deal. It's just, it's not up there in like my 5-star movie range. You know, if I was on the Mouths of Madness, I'd be calling it a killer, though. I really think this movie's great. It's a lot of fun. 4 stars.
I do think this movie isn't for everyone. So like Jill's saying, like it doesn't hit a lot of things, but I think it's just a fun watch at the end of the day. Like it's an easy watch.
For sure.
You know, it's not going to be tough, and it's pretty what is it, like an hour and 38-minute runtime,
something like that. Yeah, close to an hour 40.
Yeah, so it goes by pretty quick, pretty good pace. So, you know, if this is one you haven't seen, I definitely recommend checking it out and enjoying, and get your snake tattoo on and
put that right on your chest. Giant snake tattoo.
Before we end the episode, we want to let you know what we've been up to. What have we been watching, reading, listening to, or gaming? I just recently rewatched one of my favorite movies because I couldn't find this movie anywhere streaming for like ever. I had seen this movie years ago. It's called Love by Gaspar Noé.
I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, it's a very controversial movie.
Yeah, well, that's Gaspar Noé for you. I have seen one Gaspar Noé film. It was Irreversible.
Irreversible, yeah.
And I pledged never to watch another Gaspar Noé film as long as I live. And I have changed my mind, and there are ones that I'm interested in. But Jesus Christ, that man makes controversial films.
Yes. This
like
one's
you want to watch
different.
a 9-minute rape scene, the Irreversible for you.
Yeah, this one's no different. There's no rape. No, there's no rape in this. But I will say this is a very pornographic movie. So, like, there's actual sex on film. So,
okay.
If that's not your thing, this is not the movie for you. But what I love about this movie is it's a story about a young father who is looking back on a previous relationship and kind of a youthful version of himself and wondering like if he's made the right choices or if he really did love his ex-girlfriend, you know, his life back then before his responsibilities and things like right now. And it takes you on like his journey through like when he was with his ex-girlfriend. And I think what I really like is not necessarily the story per se, but the music and the visuals of this movie are very dreamlike throughout. And it is a very artistic movie, and it does have a lot of sex scenes that are like mixed in kind of with the art and everything that because it's all tastefully done, but it's kind of lynchy.
He's not Lars von Triering it then.
Yeah.
He's not actually showing penetration on screen.
There's no,
because that's what I thought you were trying to say.
I don't know if there's
because
actual
I wouldn't put it past the guy is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know if there's actual scene penetration, but there is like actual sex and sex acts throughout. So a lot of people look at this as an exploited movie, but I think it's kind of an artistic movie. And something I noticed, because I've watched it a couple of times, I bought it streaming, is what I never realized years ago is John Carpenter actually does some of the music in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was like, because years ago when I saw it, I'm like, this music is amazing. And now, years later, I'm like, I recognize this. It's Carpenter. So it's cool. I mean, I recommend it. It's a trip. It is very Lynchian at times to me. The acting is not good.
You're not French? Watching. Is it in French?
Yeah. So it takes place in France. They do speak English, but it is kind of a French flavor too. So Jill, you might appreciate that.
Is Jill known for liking French people? And what?
Oh, Jill has a French degree.
Oh, you have a French degree? I did not know that. I did not know that.
I taught English and French in Canada.
Oh, okay.
The more you know.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, because I mean that is some of this movie too, because the main character is an American living in France. So there is like there's kind of this culture shock too, and they bring it up several times throughout like America and French and everything. So it's good. I mean, I highly recommend it if you're interested in more of like an art house type of movie that kind of takes you on a ride. Jill, how about you?
I read 2 books. I'll talk about them. So I just finished Piglet. I read this in like 2 days. It's really pretty. It's a really strange book. It follows this character whose nickname is Piglet. Her family has always kind of made fun of her for being bigger or eating a lot. So it's a lot to do with like body image. And at times it kind of steers into body horror where she sees herself as like a pig, like an actual pig with like the pig nose, and she's like pink. And all that. I don't know if you guys have seen the Black Mirror episode Nosedive.
Okay. I thought you were going to talk about the pilot because pig, but anyway.
Also, it reminded me of that because it's also British as well.
Anyway, go on.
But basically, it's like kind of a slow but then very rapid descent into ruin. Like this girl finds out about her fiance cheating on her, and then their wedding is coming up, and then like how she kind of doesn't deal with it until she does deal with it, but then it's disastrous. It's very good. What I like about it the most is that there's a heavy focus on food in writing. So like it's always describing the food they're eating here or there. So I don't know. It's very clever. It's very strange, but it's also very good. When I bought it at the bookstore, the cashier is this little old lady. She was like, "I love that book. It's so weird." And I was like, "This was on my list. I'm so excited." So
Perfect.
Yeah. The other book I read is Butcher and Blackbird. It is a dark romance. It's about 2 serial killers who kill other serial killers. They kind of fall in love and have an annual game where they go out and see who can kill this other serial killer the fastest. Yeah, it's really unconventional as a dark romance.
Yeah.
This sounds like a perfect movie idea, does it not?
Yeah. Yep. It's a whole trilogy, so there's 2 more that I have that I need to pick up. It's pretty disgusting at times. There's like accidental cannibalism and a lot to do with like corpses, and
I prefer intentional cannibalism.
There's also some intentional cannibalism in here as well. It's really like graphic, but it's also, I don't know, it's also very heartfelt, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to be reading the other 2, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. It would be a really good movie.
That sounded like my description of Gummo in the last episode. Like it's really gross,
it's really
and
disgusting.
Vile. And,
4 stars.
What did you say about it again? It's vile. Go watch it. Everyone should watch it.
No, it's like a vile movie no one should ever watch. 4 stars.
Yes.
But I also described like the humanity behind it as beautiful, so that's why I got reminded. Anyway.
Yeah, this was disgusting. Like I got turned off when I was like eating.
But it's also really sweet, you know.
But 5 stars.
Yeah.
It's also a turn on.
Right.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
And then for movies, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to rapid fire say what I watched. Recently, I watched Day of the Dead the other night. That was cool. I watched the new Fear Street movie, Prom Queen.
Oh,
that was
I haven't seen it yet.
Hot
Is that
fucking
good?
garbage. No, it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
No.
It's awful. It's awful.
Man.
I just did an episode on Now Slaying. So yeah, you can go.
Yeah,
Listen
I
to my
haven't been
thoughts on that.
seeing good things on Letterboxd about that one, to be honest
They
with you.
just butchered it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even being cynical. It's like that bad. It's
All
bad.
right. Oof.
That's disappointing.
It is disappointing because the first like trilogy was so good.
I
And we
haven't
just
seen
covered the first one.
I haven't seen the second or the third one yet. First one was good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was awful. Awful. Like, and it was written by men. So, any prom night, prom queen movie written by men.
Yeah,
Diablo Cody in there.
and it's from the perspective of a chick on prom night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I never experienced that, so I would be hard pressed to write about it. So
Yeah.
Diablo Cody writing it though, that would be badass.
Yes. That's all I wanted.
there you go.
That's all I want in life. Nathan, what have you been up to?
I've been really busy with Memorial Day weekend and all that stuff. So I've only really watched a few movies. I watched Spring Breakers a couple weeks ago.
Spring break.
Spring Break forever. It is great, and it's hard to figure out what to say about. So it stars a bunch of teen idols from mid 2000s, I guess you'd say, right? Like the mid 2000s and 2010s.
Yep.
Like Selena Gomez, Vanessa Hudgens. Who are the other two? One of them was like Harmony Korine's wife, and then
Ashley Benson.
Ashley Benson, that's it. And they star as college girls who go on spring break and go on a crime spree after they meet Alien, who is a rapper played by James Franco. They also kind of go on a crime spree before they meet him, but so that's what you put on the back of the box. But it is, other than that, like it's very, very strange, and every expectation you have, every time you think you see where it's going, it's not going that way. It is funny and weird, and James Franco does indeed say, look at my shit.
Look at all my shit.
Look at all my shit.
Look at my shit. I got shorts, every fucking color.
I love that you watched it.
I will admit there were parts of it that made me feel like pervy, like I shouldn't be watching this at my age.
Yeah.
Like if I was 22, it would be okay to be watching it, but like at my age, it's like
I feel like that's part of it, though.
I think that's kind of the part of the point. Yeah, a little bit. Like there's a critique in there somewhere that I guess I'd have to watch it again. I did buy it on Blu-ray. Because I think it's great. But I recommend seeing that movie to anybody who wants to watch something extremely strange. It's really hard to describe what's strange about it too. It's like there's just something. The editing is all fucky, like multiple things like happen at the same time almost. I don't know. It's great though. It's great.
Have you seen it, right?
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, you gotta watch it. That's
It's
your
a ride.
homework.
It's a ride.
Yep.
I think you actually might like it.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Especially when James Franco starts saying, look at all my shit.
Look at all my shit.
I got blue Kool-Aid. Motherfucking vampires.
Hell yeah.
There's no vampires in the movie. I have no idea why he's talking about vampires. Spoiler alert, no vampire. It is completely unhinged. Like I said, and anytime you think you know what's going to happen, you have no fucking clue. Other than that, I've been playing Elden Ring again. I went back to Elden Ring. It's a great video game, by the same people who did Dark Souls. It's extremely difficult. I went in with a plan to do a different build than I usually do, kind of go with Dex and use a samurai sword. And then I found the Claymore and I was like, oh no, I'm doing the Claymore again. I love this weapon. So yeah, And that's pretty much all I've been up to.
That does it for our review on Escape from New York. We'll be back soon with another episode, and we're going to be doing a big one. Jurassic Park, the original. But until then, time's up. You're the Duke. You're grade A. Back to the padded room with you.